Hey, what's going on, No Nation? It's CJ Wilson here with Dope Talk. Of course, I'm your host. We're going to go ahead and continue with our preseason positional breakdowns. We're going to shift to the defensive side of the ball and start with the trenches. The defensive line, Coach Terrence Potroast, the new defensive line coach, and of course, Tony White. Those guys have done a hell of a job in creating a mindset of stopping the run. Going back to last year for Nebraska, they had a top 10 rush defense, giving up less than 100 yards per game. And you guys know Ohio State won a national championship this past year, and they had a pretty damn good offensive line and two running backs that went drafted within the second round, if I'm not mistaken. Well, Nebraska held Ohio State in check within that game, holding those guys less than 100 rush yards per game. So really impressive. I really like Tony White's effort to stop the run, be a physical enforcer, and set the tone on that side of the ball with stopping the run first. Then everything else will fall into place. The first name I want to discuss is Darrell Jackson, the senior leader for the defensive line, 6'5", 330 pounds. Um, if you guys didn't check out during the 2-10 season last year and actually watch the games and watch Darrell Jackson play the latter part of the season, Darrell Jackson was damn good. He made a lot of plays for FSU. He really started to come on late within the season and showed a lot of potential that we thought we would see early in the season when we had those best defensive line and college football things going around along with Darrell Jackson and other defensive linemen on the team at that point in time. But yeah, the later part of the season, he was playing really good football, standing at 6'5", 330 pounds. He's the first person off the bus type of body, man. You see this kid. I mean, it's truly impressive, man, the stature he has. And just kind of building on the strong end of the year last year that he had, the close of the season, he's been tasked with being a leader, becoming more vocal and things like that. And he stepped up with that. You guys know every year after summer workouts, Coach Herb, no, it's not Herb here, my apologies, Coach Storms, the strength and conditioning coach, elects a player to break the rock, which kind of signifies closing the summer workout period and going into fall camp. He chooses a guy that's been working and showing, it simplifies leadership throughout, and he picked Darrell Jackson for this year. So that's big for him in regards, and also just shows the work he's put in this off season to be the best from a physical standpoint, working out and going hard, and just being a leader and taking up that role. Mike Norvell did also elect to take Darrell Jackson to Media Day, to the ACC Media Day in Charlotte, North Carolina. So that just shows the confidence that the staff has within Darrell Jackson. Coach Knighton and Coach Tony White was trying to get a lot out of him in the spring as far as just be consistent every damn play. Because if you do what you did on this trip right here, every play, you will be a top 15 pick within the NFL draft. And Darrell Jackson definitely has that potential to be a first round pick. And also to speak within the defense line, it's going to be a combination of defensive tackles and pass rushers. Just the entire defensive line collectively we're going to be discussing within this video. Jayson Jenkins, a good little tongue twister there, standing at 6'6", 276 pounds, redshirt junior transfer from Tennessee. This is an interesting one because Jayson suffered an injury during the winter that at that point in time, there were reports that he could possibly miss the entire season due to the injury. He's attacked the rehab process vigorously, doing everything in his power to get back, and his hard work is being rewarded as reports now indicate that he could be just missing the early portion of the season and could be a player for FSU throughout the remainder of the season, or the majority of the season, rather, which is very good news. I know the FSU staff is really high on his potential. They think he could be an NFL type of player. He's an edge guy, 6'6", 276 pounds, great frame. That's another thing. You're going to hear me talk about frame and body size and things like that. Um, the bodies we brought in to kind of run this Tony White's 3-3-5 defense on the defensive line, some big body guys, which you need, right? These guys look the part. But sitting at 6'6", 276 to have positive injury prognosis from Jayson Jenkins in regards to his possible return being a lot shorter and not being as detrimental extreme rather than we thought it would be, it's a good thing for FSU. All right, next thing we're going to discuss is KJ Sampson, red shirt sophomore, 6'3", 318-pounder. He's been a backup contributor for FSU past few years. Was a four-star recruit. I know the staff and Tony White and Coach Terrence Knighton were pushing to get more out of KJ Sampson as well, just to be more consistent. He's an uber athletic guy, played basketball in high school. He could provide a big spark for FSU within the defensive line as far as contributing and being a great depth piece. This is a guy I'm really excited for. He has all the talent in the world, and all the potential in the world. And I think this kid is just scratching the surface, as he did elect to enroll early and skip a grade. He was supposed to be within this recruiting class, rather the 2025 recruiting class. Elected to jump up a grade, miss his senior year, and enroll to FSU within the 2024 class. And that's Amaree Williams. He plays everything: tight end, wide receiver, defensive end in high school. Um, Played tight end last year for FSU. Coming out of high school, I thought he could be more effective as an edge rusher due to his athleticism. And FSU decided to put him back on defense. He was making a lot of plays within the spring, showing his uber athleticism at 6'4", 236 pounds. I think Amari Williams could be a demon for FSU on the edge. This kid is just scratching the surface. Like I said, he did enroll early at FSU at 17 years old. His body's starting to get developed and things like that. He looks completely different from when he not transferred, when he enrolled to FSU, which should have been his senior year in high school. So Amari Williams is a guy that moved over to the defensive line now, and it's going to be really exciting to see what he could do for FSU within his defense. All the athleticism in the world, the kid could do it all. Right, Daniel Lyons is another defensive lineman. The last few years, he's been a reserve guy for FSU, getting those type of reps in the 6'4", 302 pounds. I think this 3-3-5 defense kind of balls well for Daniel Lyons as far as his frame and what he brings to the table. Could be a bigger defensive end within this set. We'll see him compete for FSU this upcoming season. Like I said, the last few years, he's been the key backup within the defensive line rotation. Deontay McCrae, standing at 6'4", 287 pounds. This is the transfer from Western Kentucky. The kid is from Jacksonville, Florida. Had 19 starts for Western Kentucky, totaling 104 tackles, 7.5 tackles for loss, and 3.5 sacks. This past season, the 2024 season, he had 55 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, and 2.5 sacks. This kid is a run-stopping demon. He's very good within the run game, physical at the point of attack. Look for that to carry over to FSU, as we need. That's something we need to be something that we needed coming from last year, is just being a physical enforcer and stopping the run. And it kind of goes with what I told you, what Tony White and Terrence Pot Rose Knighton looks for from what they had in Nebraska. Guys that can stop the damn run. And Deontay McCrae was a great run stopper for Western Kentucky this past season. 6'4", 287 pounder. He's a big edge type of player. So you go from a big edge type of transfer to a more pass rush specialist type of transfer, and that's James Williams, staying at 6'6", 260-pounder. He transferred from Nebraska with Tony White and Terrence Knighton. Red Shirt Jr. played in 16 games for Nebraska with 7.5 tackles for loss and 7 sacks within those 17 games. He played limited reps, but he was very efficient doing those reps. He was more so a pass rush specialist for Nebraska. He was very efficient within pass rushing. The best returning pass pressure rate within the country at 21.5%. James did state he's trying to be more of a complete player coming into this season, bulked up, be an every down type of guy. James will be competing for a starting role for the Seminoles. Deontay Diggs, 6'5", 250-pounder. This is a transfer from Coastal Carolina. This past season for Coastal Carolina had 34 sacks, 6.5 tackles for loss, and 34 tackles rather, 6.5 tackles for loss, and 5 sacks. My apologies. This is your pass rush type of guy too. So 6'5", 250. I told you the type of body types you brought in this past offseason is real different. You guys remember Patrick Payton. He was more so on a 230 side and things like that. So within this defense, we need more guys that that are big within the defensive line. Quite frankly, to put it simply, to simply put it. And Deontay Diggs kind of fits that bill. He's a pass rush specialist. Look for him to bring in quality reps, compete for a starting role, backup role, whatever it may be. And we'll see how the chips fall within fall camp. All right, Jaden Jones. This Jaden Jones has had an interesting career at FSU. He's been pretty much up and down and kind of derailed by injuries. He's a redshirt senior, sitting at 6'5", 257 pounds. At one point in time, he was the number one JUCO player in the country and the number one JUCO defensive end towards ACL once he got to FSU. And now he's finally healthy. In spring practice, he was a breath of fresh air in regards to how good he looked physically because he was finally healthy and the plays he was making. So hopefully Jaden Jones can build on a very positive spring and carry that over to fall camp and be effective within the rotation for FSU. All right, Tylen Coleman, standing at 6'4", 309 pounds. This kid is a JUCO. He was part of the 2025 FSU recruiting class from the JUCO ranks. He was a top 10 JUCO player. He had 30 tackles, 3.5 tackles for loss, and 1.5 sacks during his JUCO ranks. Coming in as a defensive tackle, nose guard type of guy, will look to provide quality reps and quality depth within the defensive line. All right, so those are the upperclassmen. Now I want to speak about some freshmen that Mike Norvell spoke very highly of in recent interviews. He said these guys, even though they're true freshmen, they can make an impact for FSU this season. FSU did a hell of a job. The close of the recruiting cycle going into signing day this past season with the new staff and getting defensive linemen. And these guys have made an impact pretty much off rip. From spring practice, these true freshmen have stood out, and that's carried over to the summer workouts, and hopefully it can continue to be consistent within the fall camp. Kevin Wynn, 6'2", 334-pounder. As you guys know, Kevin Wynn was the crown recruit within the defensive line from Georgia, was a highly rated 4-star recruit committed to FSU over the summer, but was kind of wavering during the 2-10 season, but locked down his commitment, stuck with the Seminoles. FSU beat out Texas and the University of Georgia for his commitment. This kid is a straight dog, man. Straight dog. He's your prototypical defensive, your nose tackle within this defense. He's physical, he's athletic, he's a nasty type of player, man. You look at his high school film, Kevin Wynn is a take no prisoner type of guy. Really excited what he could do. Mike Norvell spoke pretty highly of him. Now you have Darryll and Mandrell Desir, the twins from South Florida, standing at 6'4", 6'5", 262 pounds. These guys have been a pleasant surprise for FSU. They came in as 3 stars. They were committed to UCF, if I'm not mistaken. Came in as 3 stars, but forget the star records. These guys could play down football. Made an impact in the spring, and it looked to carry over within fall camp. One person on staff told me that these guys are NFL type of players. So we'll see how things pan out. Very excited to see what these young men can do for FSU. Big time playmakers within the defensive line. And they already have the physical build as it is. They look like third year players within the program. So FSU is excited about these twins. Really, really good get within the recruiting cycle. Pleasant surprise for FSU. Now, these last 2 candidates, defensive linemen, true freshmen I want to speak about, came late within the signing day, and they were flipped from SEC programs. You got LAJessie Harrold, 6'5", 253-pounder. FSU ended up flipping him from LSU down the stretch from signing day. Again, shout out to Coach Knighton, Terrence Pot Road Knighton. This kid is from Tampa, Florida, was committed to LSU. Mike Norvell spoke highly of him as well. The last one is Tylen Lee, standing at 6'4", 287 pounds from Pace, Florida, up in the Panhandle. On 3 had him as a 5-star within their recruiting ranks. FSU flipped him from the Ole Miss Rebels during the close of signing day. This is another kid that the staff is really high on. They feel like they hit within all cylinders on the 5 true freshman defensive linemen, and they will have a chance to contribute within this fall. So there you have it, guys. That's a defensive line. I think this group has a lot of potential, led by Darrell Jackson, who could be an All-American type of player for FSU if he puts things all together and be more consistent on the field. All signs point to him doing that. We'll see how things plan out. Make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. We have the linebackers coming soon. Go Noles.